This podcast is not affiliated with any Grand Lodge, and the particulars, antics, and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own. Should be dismissed immediately.
All right, welcome to a very special episode of Studio 357 Masonic Podcast. I'm your host, Joe, with co-host Dave.
Hi, guys.
And producer Heath.
Hi.
That's in front of the camera. Again, it's good to have you. We're going to not do our opening toast yet. We'll shout out to our sponsors real quick: Homeward Handyman Services, Corporal Dagan Page Foundation, and MasonicGearShop.com, which we got our shirts today. Go to their website, go to our Facebook and find our link tree. It'll take you right to our section of their website. And you can buy our shit, and it's really cool.
And they've got some neat stuff out there that you don't see a lot of other places, so it's kind of cool.
You can buy their other stuff too, but our stuff is cool.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. We have some very special guests with us tonight. We have Brother Samuel and Brother Ryan from the Third Degree Masonic Podcast out of Ohio. And we'll just go around robin. We'll start with you guys. What have you been up to in the last week or so?
Sam, you want to start?
Hi, I'm Brother Sam. I'm one of the hosts for the Third Degree, and honestly, I have been just trying to get everything figured out for our show for the last 2 weeks. We took a pretty long break in July. It's just busy with summer and family, and we had a lot of episodes that I had kind of been lazy on editing, and I have been just running editing all these episodes. So what about you, Ryan?
Hi, my name's Ryan, Brother Ryan. A little awkward on the microphone. That's why I like doing the tech stuff. That I'm not on this side of the camera or the mic. But past 2 weeks, I work for a custom steel fabrication shop. We are one of 3 in the nation that do zoo fabrication stuff. That business has really picked up. On my work side, on my personal side, I'm getting married in 34 days.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Holy shoot. Thank you. Unfortunately, with the 34 days, it's starting to hit me that I have a lot to do. And it's starting to be like, I need to stay up for 24 hours to get all this stuff done. And while also trying to make my fiance happy. And then
that's the number one priority.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much been my day. Is I'm either running around at work or running around at home trying to figure out stuff. So, yep.
And actually, we just had a meeting last night. He didn't mention it, but I'm his wedding officiant, so I'm marrying him and his fiance.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, he's the one that introduced us both. And he's been a great friend, Brother Sam. And yeah, we asked him and he was like, yeah, I can definitely do that. So
yeah, no problem.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
How about you guys? What have you been up to?
So I'm Dave for you guys here on your side. Biggest thing, I'm a truck driver, deliver milk, so I'm busy doing that all the time. Been nice. Busy tomorrow night at the Tangier Shrine. We've got a group function with Tangier that we're doing a dinner, a comedy show, and a barn dance, and so getting that all put together. So it should be a fun night.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a combo.
And busy with life. I mean, nothing special. So how about you?
Well, you're here tonight because you didn't go to what concert?
Yeah, America. We were supposed to go to America, and one of the band members had an emergency appendectomy, and so it's been until November. So
and you just got back from Ames from Journey.
We went and saw Foreigner. Foreigner at Ames on Friday night.
So when you say America, you mean A Horse with No Name, America?
Got that one right.
That was my dad's favorite band. That song used to be on repeat in his truck all my whole childhood. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I've been up to last night. We had our lodge proofing, and I didn't screw anything up.
For the biggest part, yeah.
which is amazing. I stumbled finding my first words.
You did.
Once I had that.
You found yourself, yes.
I've never opened in master before as a senior warden.
This year, I mean, we've got so many new candidates that we've been EA opening
Yeah,
and
every
fellowship.
meeting.
Yeah, so
That's all I had going on.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah. All I've had is the roofing last night, and then last weekend I worked on the cars a little bit, but that was about it. Hadn't been a whole lot going on.
Do you have any special things you're having to do with the air show coming in Omaha next week?
No.
You got
Thank God.
okay.
So that is all off at Air Force
Oh,
Base's problem. Not
Ours was last year.
That's right. Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll dive into some questions here.
Sounds great.
And you guys can dive in either one. And obviously, if somebody's listened to your show, they know the answers to these already. Which, if you haven't yet, you should listen to their show. It's very
Absolutely.
good. But what brought you to Masonry? Either one can start.
So, there's
So
age before beauty.
thanks. So I was a DMLA. Started when I was 12 years old. My martial arts instructor kind of he was the master of the lodge that year, and he goes, "Hey, go upstairs. They have pizza, and then bring me down a slice before class." So I go up there and I'm talking to these guys, and it's a bunch of guys my age. They were trying to restart the DMLA chapter here in Genoa. It had gone dark for almost 30 years, and lo and behold, they said the words overnighters and Xbox and pizza, and they got like me and everybody in the class to start doing that, and we got our DMLA chapter. We were probably one of the number one chapters in the state of Ohio for a few years, membership growth, and we were a powerhouse, and it helped because everybody that was in our chapter, we were all friends outside of it. So we were just, we were tight, go to school together. We did sports together. We did DMLA together. We almost never saw each other. So we had this like tight bond. And then, when I was 19, my dad advisor for that chapter, because you have a Mason that's kind of the advisor of the group. He well, I can't really get him in too much trouble. He's gone, but he just handed me a petition. So, and he kind of broke the rule of not asking. He didn't technically ask, but he implied that he kind of felt like I was becoming a made man in the mafia. It's just like it was an offer you can't refuse. But I actually belonged to a different lodge for a long time, probably about 5 years. We were at Northern Light.
Yeah, about.
Kind of in a bigger town here and outside of Toledo. And that's where I met Ryan. Ryan joined there, and
That was my phone. My bad.
And got to know Ryan, and then I dragged Ryan to all of my friends' parties and kind of introduced him to all my people. And then I ended up kind of moving back to the area, and all of my DMLA brothers were all members of Genoa Lodge, and it was just natural to come back, and I was busy with work, and I had some personal things going on in my life, and our good friend and his future brother-in-law was becoming the master of the lodge, and he asked me politely to be his education officer. And I didn't know how I really felt about that, but I was like, well, I don't know if I can manage doing that. And he goes, oh, good. Well, I kind of need you to, so we'll see you on Tuesday. So here I am. We've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Yep.
Any other family member besides your dad as a Mason?
So my dad wasn't a Mason. My grandfather and my great-grandfather were on my mom's side, but I never would have known that had I not joined Masonry. I was going through some of their belongings, and they never talked about it. It really wasn't. My grandfather, I think, joined because my great-grandfather, kind of family thing. Yeah. I don't think he ever went to a meeting after he got raised, not that I can think of, or that he'd ever talked about. And then my great-grandfather, this was the kind of what got me kind of inspired about this. I knew very little about the man. He passed away when I was 3 or 4, and I was going through a box of his stuff. I found his Masonic rings. I found his apron, which is unfortunate. He should have, But I found that. I found his Bible. I found Scottish Rite dues cards. I found, York Rite dues cards. I found all these things. He was really active, but I knew nothing about it. So it kind of got me on a quest to kind of dive into it and kind of learn about his history. But you can only learn it so far because I'm not hearing his stories. And most of the guys from when he was in have already passed away. But I'm really lucky that our lodge has a lot of guys that have kind of like a district access, almost like they can look into files everywhere, and they were able to find me a whole bunch of information about him and filled in a lot of gaps that I didn't know. So I stumbled across Masonry, and I'm very happy that I did.
So, for me, what brought me to Masonry is my grandpa was a Mason. He originally was raised in Indiana, Gas City Lodge. I believe the lodge is still active. They may be dim for the summer though right now, but and then he moved to Michigan, and always saw like his ring, his Bible, and all that stuff on the mantle. Never really clicked or anything. And after he passed away, I got a lot of his stuff, his Mason stuff, and I held on to his ring. His ring is actually now my ring. But I was always like, I'm gonna join, I'm gonna join, I'm gonna join, I'm gonna make him proud. And then I think one Tuesday night, I live in Perrysburg, which is about 30 minutes west of Genoa. And I just decide, let me look up the local Masonic Lodge, went there, met a few guys, talked to them a little bit, and they said, well, we're going to have a meeting here in 15 minutes. We'd love to have you stay, but unfortunately, you're not a member. So here's a petition. If you don't have to sign anything right now, you can bring it back and whatnot. Went home, kind of thought about it a little bit more. I thought, you know what? I'm going to take this first step for my grandpa. I know he would be smiling ear to ear. So took the first step, loved it. Took the second step, loved it even more. And then I think the third step is when I met Sam. Like it was after a meeting. Me and him were just kind of chilling around everyone, and I think we were introduced by the Worshipful Master or something.
Yeah, Max introduced us at his poker party.
Yep. And of all the things, we started talking about D&D, and he was running a campaign and I was preparing to run a campaign. I was telling him all this stuff, and we sat there for 2+ hours just talking. And then he goes, hey, I'm running a D&D session this Sunday. You should come join us. And I thought, sure, why not? Met this guy once at a lodge for 2 hours, and all of a sudden I'm driving 30 minutes at 9 o'clock at night to a city I've never been to a house I've never been to. And I text him and I'm like, hey, I think I'm here, but no lights are on. What's going on? And he goes, oh, we're in the basement. Just come around to the back of the house. The door is unlocked and walk down the stairs. I don't know what overcame me, but I was like, that sounds right.
That could happen, right?
Yeah. So had a great time. We refer to the group of guys that we have as just the guys. I mean, there's 13, 14 of us or so that pretty much any time of the day you text them up and it's like, hey, I want to have a party just because we can just sit around, shoot the shit and whatnot, and that's pretty much what we do. But
it's toned down a little bit nowadays. Now that everybody's pretty much married and having kids, now it's hey, do you want to come over and help me clean my garage?
Or, hey, I got some yard work. I really need some help. And it's like, okay, I'll go get the blower.
Can I get some? Is there beer involved? Sure. Yeah, let's have some beer. Good.
Yeah, now that we've all kind of hit the 30s and stuff, it's like, okay, we're not shotgunning beer anymore.
No.
So, but yeah, no. And then I kind of took a little bit of a low and dropped out of the fraternity for a little bit. I was reassessing everything, my work, my school. I grabbed way too much at one time and I was just running around kind of like I am now, but this time it's happiness. Um, and I really hope my fiance does not listen to this.
Don't worry, nobody
But
listens to this.
That's how we feel too. Don't worry.
um but yeah, and I was just like, I'm gonna step back. So I demitted from Northern Light and Maumee for a bit. And then my fiance's brother was having a summer pool party at her parents' house. And we were there and we were in the pool, and all of a sudden he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you're raised Master Mason, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Are you still in good standing?" I was like, "No, I'm demitted." And he goes, "I really need you to be in good standing." And I was like, "Why?" And he goes,
Why?
"I really need a senior steward for next year. So I was hoping that you could jump in." And I'm sitting here, I'm like, "You son of a huh." I'm like, "Let me see what I can do and I'll figure something out." The next day, my fiance's dad comes up to me and, "Hey, did you talk to my son?" "Yeah, why? Are you going to be the senior steward?" I'm like, "You uh, yes, I'm going to be the senior steward." And then the night of installation, the same brother comes up to me and goes, "Hey, so I know I talked to you about senior steward, but the senior deacon just dropped out. Anyway, you could just
Do
jump to
that.
that." And I was like, "How much more complex is that?" And he goes, "Oh, there's only like one or two speaking parts." And as
Lies.
Masons, we
We
know
know.
that's a lie.
Lies.
And me being again stupid was like, "Yeah, sure." First meeting, I go, "I have to say all this?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you back one of these days." So
So we both got hustled back into line.
yeah, yeah,
And honestly, though, I wouldn't have traded it for anything. We've ever since we both got back to being active, it has been nothing but fun. And it really reminds us, at least for us, a lot of these guys that we're officers with are the same guys that we hang out with on the weekends, and it's all the guys. So it's just like having fun. We got to
yeah.
be serious for an hour or two, and then you'll catch us in the kitchen just roasting each other
Yeah.
for the whole.
On missing lines or doing the wrong steps and stuff. And we'll just be like, "Well, at least I know the fellowcraft degree." And it's like, "Okay, listen here, I had a bad night." So, but yeah, no, that's kind of what brought me into masonry, and that's what brought you. And
Brought
like
me
you said,
back.
yeah, I'm super happy that A, you joined, and B, you came back, because I don't think without masonry, I don't think I'd be marrying who I am and where I'm at now.
It
So,
all works out, right?
It does.
Yeah.
There is a plan.
yep, yeah,
There's got to be one somewhere. I mean,
Right.
we were talking about it in one of our episodes about the just the small little things. He comes and hangs out with me, and then the next thing you know, he's hanging out with our group, and then he's got a key to my apartment, and he's moving furniture in my apartment to make space so he can.
I don't know why you
He's
gave
got
me a key.
he's got somewhere to sleep if he's at a party and I'm not.
Yeah,
And next thing you know, he's meeting Dustin's sister that I've known since she was 4 years old. And
yeah, that's the other
and
thing.
now I'm officiating their wedding in 34 days. I mean, it doesn't you can't put it together any more perfectly. So there's got to be a plan there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
So
how about you guys? What brought you guys to masonry?
Uh, for me was I knew my grandfather was, but my brother-in-law and my sister were doing stuff all the time, especially through the shrine, and they kept doing stuff. And I did the question, says, "So what is this shrine stuff?" And he goes, "About freaking time you asked me." Uh, and that's what got me rolling again into the masonry. Raised in the same lodge as my grandfather was. Um, if you guys happen to ever listen to the first episode, I tell the story which none of the guys I'd ever knew about, and I gave that story at that night. that when I was at the altar at my Master Mason degree, I felt my grandfather's presence, his hand on my shoulder. And so it really brought to life for me at that point in time. And so since then, I've been rather active, especially on the shrine side here. I'm the secretary for the lodge, but so I run the lodge. The master doesn't do anything,
Right. We know who's really in charge.
I'll be
But,
doing that next year.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
yeah,
Well, you guys,
it can be a job, but hey, that grand view system makes it a whole lot easier.
well,
So
when
are
it
you
works.
master next year as well?
One more time. Sorry, you
Are
clipped
you
out for a
master
second.
next year?
Oh no. I am
You're gonna
we
be
currently have so we're still kind of in a growing phase. COVID really kicked us in the chest. A lot of our guys that were really active at the time during COVID, we're trying to get them back. Um, it's been slow, but we're getting there. We went from having nobody on the sidelines, and now we're back to at least one side of the room is full. But our next year's line, if so elected, I'll say that for technicalities, um, is going to be a past master and actually a past grandmaster for the state of Ohio. So we're hoping that his leadership will kind of help move things forward. And then following him, we have another past master. So we'll have a couple good years of guys that really.
At Homeward Handyman Services, we pride ourselves on being honest and giving every job the attention it deserves. Owned and operated by a master mason with 2 decades of expertise in home repair. We are bonded and insured, and we carry the highest standards when it comes to taking care of your home. Whether you need a faucet changed or a light remodel, we can take care of your home improvement needs. Call Michael at 402-915-0824 today for a free estimate.
For me, I came into masonry. My dad and my grandpa were both masons. I knew they were. I had no interest in being a mason until he was in Boy Scouts and he was a scoutmaster. And after a couple of years, Dave was like, "Hey, you ever thought about seeing what we're all about?" Because he asked questions here and there, and nothing real serious. So I wasn't like, "Come here, boy."
Get over here.
So I joined for the sole purpose of being a Shriner, and then I was gone for about 6 years,
Probably, yeah.
and then I came back to Lodge when we raised him, and it never looked back.
Yeah.
Started hopping through chairs, and actually in November we're gonna go through the Scottish Rite.
Nice.
So we'll be 3rd and 4th generation Scottish Rite Masons.
Very cool.
nice.
Yeah.
For me, really the main purpose for joining was kind of just because you did, and I kind of just do most of the stuff that you do for the most part. But I really wanted to learn fascinated by the historical side of things, and I just want to learn more about the kind of side of things. So
And we've added Gabe.
So
Hi, Gabe.
Why did you join?
I really just wanted to be a part of a cult, and really just this was.
Joined the wrong group.
Yeah. I really just wanted to find a group that I could kind of associate myself with in the same way that I had the type of friendship in a sense that I had in the military. I was in the Coast Guard. And I had my nerd friends, or I had my car guys. I had all kinds of people, but no one really itched that scratch in a sense of what I had in the military. And that guy over there was about as good as it's gonna get for finding that kind of military stuff. And of course, the whole group is just in the same kind of vibe. So the way that I legitimately got into first off, never heard of masonry in my life. 18 years in Puerto Rico, never heard of it. Came here to the United States in 2017, spent about 2 years bouncing around states. I got here to Nebraska in 2019. All till 2024, never heard of Masons. And I met him because our break room was under construction and I didn't have anywhere to eat. And I wanted to sit down, but I was really dirty, so I didn't want to sit in my car. So I went to his shop and I asked him if I could sit with him. 3 weeks went by. We barely said like good morning and goodbye to each other, you know.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah. I would hear him listening to like masonry podcasts, or I would see different symbols on his box and whatnot, and I noticed his tattoos. So I just asked questions. You know, I learned on Google. I went on YouTube. I started looking up some more, and it got me interested. And then I met the friend group, and I met the people, and it just kind of all fell together. And it's been great so far. I've been in for what, almost 3 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 months. I'm an EA, but so far it's been great, man. This is awesome. Free beer.
The fun has just begun. Free beer.
It's only free for you.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right. I almost said something that we can't say. So word it in a way I shouldn't word it. Was what inspired you guys to start a podcast?
So this is actually a great story that Sam can say. Like I said, I'm more of the tech sound guy, and I got kind of roped into it last. So Sam's gonna be doing a lot of talking, but don't worry, I'm gonna be pushing his buttons to make sure he talks. That's the real reason I'm.
That's what he does. He's the pusher. Actually, it's kind of similar to how most Masonic podcasts start out. We had a meeting. Some things happened in that meeting that really just grinded my gears. I was just so mad. And it wasn't anything that was that big of a deal. It was just some of those things where you're just like, seriously, what are we doing?
You were having a terrible day at
it
work,
was-
and it was just the icing on the
Yeah.
cake.
I think I was on like my fourth or fifth 12 in a row. I was just so I was out on, we have a balcony out back, and I'm just outside breathing in the cold winter air to chill down. And
20 degrees outside.
Gabe comes out. Everybody could tell I was mad. I was just staying away from everybody because I didn't want to snap and say anything. And I'm just like, you just need to chill out. And he comes out and we're talking about it. And I'm, this and that and this and that. And he goes, bro, you should just start a podcast. And that started off a whole nother bunch of expletives his way. But then I got to thinking about it. And I called him the next day and I went, okay, I know you were kidding, but like, you think? And I took, I don't know, 6 months or so.
It was closer to 4.
4 months. 4 months to kind of learn all the ins and outs of it, and can we actually pull this off? And I just kept thinking, man, I wish I could hear my grandfather tell me his stories in masonry, but I'll never get to do that. Right. I mean, that ship is long gone. But my hope is that by doing this show, we'll have something for the future, so that way the guys down the line don't have to have questions of, oh, well, what was Brother Ryan about? Well, yeah. I can show you. Here you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. You can't beat that. Right. And then, you sprinkle in a little bit of Masonic history and a little bit of, intrigue and a little bit of comedy, and you got yourself gold there. You're just hanging out with your buddies, more or less.
Yeah. Because I remember we were in front of the pool table like 2 months after that meeting, and I was asking about stuff during that meeting, like, hey, whatever happened of this? And you go, interesting enough, and you tell me what Gabe said, and I kind of chuckle, and I went to shoot the pool, and Gabe comes out and goes, hey, did you ask Ryan yet? And I'm like, ask me what?
He didn't know. I had already voluntold him to be my tech guy.
Yeah, and Sam goes, well, you're really good with computers and like video and all that stuff, so we need a tech guy. You mind helping out? And I was like, I mean, if you guys are serious, sure. And they kind of were spitballing ideas of like what to name it and when to meet and stuff. And I'm still sitting there drinking, just playing pool by myself and stuff, thinking like, this is never going to get off the road. Like, they're never going to do this. This is just something they're going to keep talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then like 3 more months go, and you're like, be at the lodge this day. I have all the equipment. We're doing our first episode. It's going to be about World War II. And I'm like, oh shit, that actually happened.
Pulled out all these diagrams and plans and scripts and all the guests we're gonna have, and I had a business model of like, this is what I'd like to have us do and when I'd like to see us get it done. And he goes, "You were serious?" I went, "Oh, I'm serious. Wait till you see the logo." He goes, "You have a logo?" "Oh yeah, I have a logo.
Yeah.
You're
Which is
gonna
great,
love
by
it.
the
It's a
way.
cartoon." Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, he kind of Sam's learned how to just surprise us all and just spring stuff and be like, hey, here you go. You guys gotta deal with this now.
By the way, we have 3 new microphones coming in next week.
Yeah.
What? How much are you spending? We're not going to talk about it.
I have an Excel document, but I just refuse to.
I don't
like,
open it.
So
But
Like,
no,
tell my
our,
wife,
our
'cause
really. Oh,
my
I'm
wife
sorry. I didn't
doesn't-
mean to
my
interrupt
wife doesn't watch our show, and I tell her if something ever happens to both of us, like don't sell it for what we said it cost.
Right.
Sell it
Correct.
for what it really costs.
you. No kidding.
yeah.
But we were
Well-
much when we started, we used to sit by the fire and we'd hear cars go by, and it was kind of like Gone in 60 Seconds, where we would guess the car and or the engine or whatever. And here's the old guy talking to his teenage son saying we should do like a YouTube channel and and do that, guess the cars or whatever. And he was like, yeah, whatever, Dad, have another drink.
Yep.
And then so I was listening to a podcast out of Pennsylvania, Masonic Light podcast.
Yep.
Like, I think we could probably do that too. Totally unfounded. Like, we didn't do any research. We had a camera. We went. I think our first microphone was from Walmart.
Mhm.
It was
like
if you go back and listen.
It was like $8 at Walmart.
Yeah, if you go back and listen
Mhm.
to the first
Yep.
the first 4 episodes, I think, of ours,
Yeah.
they're garbage. I mean, they're 100% garbage. The audio's
It was like the Charlie Brown, like
Wah, wah, wah.
parents
Those-
talking, like,
Yeah.
yep, I can definitely tell what he's saying.
well, it turned out that when you if you have the camera plugged in to charge it while you're recording, you get feedback.
Oh yeah.
So there's like this constant ringing.
Yeah,
I'd
we
like
have
to
to
say
turn
we-
off the air conditioning.
really happened.
Yeah, we have to turn off the air conditioning and the fans in the room. Otherwise, you'll just hear this constant buzzing noise in your head.
Which right now we forgot to turn off the fans, but
It's not
yeah,
bad.
the AC, and the problem is we kind of have our lodge kind of has a cooling heating issue where it cools and heats the lodge room, no other room though.
Nowhere else.
So it will be like, oh, well, the lodge room's at 70, but the dining room's at 90. I don't give a crap about that. And then also it'll be like, well, now the lodge room's at 72. I have to cool the whole place down, and it will just turn on as loud as it can. So there's been a few episodes where we're recording and we forget to turn it off auto. And then all of a sudden we'll just hear this grinding sound, and we're like, what is going on? So, but yeah, we definitely understand the terrible audio and stuff because we kind of started in the same boat, and it was just like, yeah, this microphone's not working.
This isn't
nope,
working.
Nope, just get rid of it. You just bought this for $20. I don't care. Send it back.
Go spend $400 on another setup.
Hey, I
Fine.
didn't say these ones, but good job the second time around.
Yeah.
Which I got to say, I am becoming a pretty good fan of Rode microphones. And actually, our lav mics that we have are really nice.
Yeah.
I don't even know what brand they are.
They're like an Amazon knockoff brand, but there's one thing
Mhm.
the Chinese do very well, and it's copy things.
They do.
I know the quality's great on them.
Yeah.
I mean, we got them for doing like on-site shoots and stuff, and that ends up what we use all the time now, except for tonight.
Holy Land.
Holy Land. There you go.
Yeah, Rode is definitely the way to go if you can swing it. We're not quite there yet. We've got some I think they're Fi-Fine microphones. They're from Amazon. They're like $20 a piece, but I think they come out okay for now. But my
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
is to one day have the Rode set up. in my basement and have like the chairs and all that stuff, so I can be that pretentious guy that has a show in his basement.
Well, one step at a
Going
time.
back real fast, I just want you to imagine you talking to a brother and be like, "Hey, come over to my basement and let's do a podcast." Like that sounds creepy. That sounds like me running for the door.
Guess
going,
where we're at.
Yeah, I'll be right there.
That's
Yeah.
where we're at.
We are right now in his basement.
I love it.
The benefit is the drinks are cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that is the goal one day. I would like to do that and set that all up. But this is an endeavor of love on mine and Ryan and Gabe's part, and we got our own bills to pay, so we gotta take it easy for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know the feeling. My credit card hurt the first couple months.
Well, and so we were running everything on his old laptop, which he thought was great. Turns out it wasn't that great. Well, I got the plastic out and we bought a brand new Dell computer that's like, I mean, it's an ass kicker. It's a really good one,
Oh yeah.
but they're not cheap.
Nope.
Computers.
But
My,
I'm gonna take. We got about 20-ish minutes left.
Mhm.
Before Zoom kicks
Before Zoom.
off again, and then we have to restart.
So I'm gonna take one of your questions and kind of modify a little bit and throw it back at you.
I like it.
Okay.
If you could interview any historical figure from Masonry, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that better. You did a great job with that question. Well, mine's pretty easy. I would love to sit down with Ben Franklin.
You bastard. That's what I was thinking myself. I was like, George Washington. No, Ben Franklin.
I would want to know how he pulled off all of the things that he pulled off during the war, and how he was able to convince so many people to come over and help us,
He was
and
kind of a
how much
superhero.
of that was he really. I mean, I know every lodge on the planet has well, not in the planet, but at least in the US has a picture of George Washington, but really Ben Franklin was the guy, man. He convinced people to come over and help, and spent all that time in France, and I'm just sitting here going, how'd you do it? Like, how'd you pull all that off? How do you convince? I can't even convince the tenant downstairs to turn his air conditioning down a couple degrees. How'd you convince these guys to come over to another country and fight a war that had nothing to do with them? So that's what I would like to see is Ben Franklin. But
Well, you took my original, so and I can't just copy yours. But I think mine's gonna be a little vague, but really any of the founding fathers, I would love to just, even if it's like a 10-part freaking episode and I'm sitting there for 10 hours straight, I would love to just talk to them, see what it was going on back then, see what going in their minds and how their meetings were going. And I mean, that's how America got started, is with Masons like having meetings and in the back of a bar and stuff and talking. And I would just love to know. Obviously, we all know the taxes is what kind of like pushed us over the edge, but where was it where you guys were like, you know what? This is what we're doing. This is exactly what we're doing. We're done. We're just doing this. And then just all the planning and all the, like Sam said, like, how did you guys get people from the other side of the world where nowadays we have planes and boats and it's freaking few days travel. Back then it was, oh, hey, I'm going to be on the sea for a few weeks, if not a month before I get to America. It's like, how in the world did you do this? So I gotta say the founding fathers, like all of them, just
I dig that.
like,
I think my backup, though, I would really like to talk to Paul Revere and find out whether he actually gave some British officer a Masonic symbol and they let him pass. I don't know. I've heard that story a few 100,000 times, so I'd like to know if that one's true and get that one on the record.
Yeah.
But historically, anyway.
Yeah.
we gotta remember that question.
That's a good way to word it. I like that.
Damn, that
Well,
really made me
I
think. I'm
listened to
gonna
one of your
start
guys'
looking now.
podcasts, and it brought back. I used to do interviews for Eagle candidates and sitting on the boards.
Mhm.
I'd always one of my questions for them was, who anybody in your life, gone or present, who would you love to sit down with and talk with? And I heard that question from you guys. And went, I forgot about that question. I brought it back in. All right.
And it's surprising. I thought that we would get a lot of people telling us like, "Oh, I would like to talk to George Washington or Ben Franklin or FDR or any of these guys." Most of the time, the guys that they're like, "Who do you look up to?" They're always guys that they knew. They were the guys that mentored them as candidates. They were, their dads or their grandfathers or,
The people that brought them into the fraternity and like kind of showed them the first step and whatnot. Or
I thought we'd get a bunch of historical answers, and most of the time it's not, and that has really surprised me, genuinely. I mean,
Well, that goes to show what the brotherhood does as a whole, of bringing guys together and making bonds for life. So
yep,
absolutely.
Yeah, it really is.
And-
From the time I've come in, even when I spent time, those few years away from Lodge, that's my set of friends. I mean, it's
Mhm.
and it hasn't
Yep.
moved much from that.
Right.
I mean,
like I
you
know.
said, it took 3 weeks to talk
Oh.
for me to talk to him. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I was there for about a month. I think I saw you for about the month straight. I only saw you when you came out of your section and to clock out. And I always ask, like, who's that guy? Like, I only see him literally at the end of the day. Like, I never met him because he was on the other corner of the shop and I'm way at the other end. It is what it is. And it just so happened that that's how it came to us meeting.
Yeah.
Just the construction at the break room.
Everything happens for a reason, brother.
Amen, brother.
Right.
yeah,
Well, and just wait, because one of these days you're going to be out and about and you're going to do something or wear something or have something on you, and someone's going to notice it, and you're never going to meet this person in your life.
Yep.
And they're going to come up to you and they're going to ask you a couple questions, and then the next thing you know, you just met a new best friend.
yeah.
You're going to be happy to see that person genuinely, and you're never going to forget about it. I had one a few weeks ago. This guy gets out of this big lifted F-150. I mean, this thing is taller than me, and I'm just like, wow, that's a big truck. And he, backs into the space, and I look behind me, and he's got the Scottish Rite symbols on the back of his window. So I have to just go over and talk to this guy now. And I'm like, nice truck. He's like, oh, thanks. I'm like, use that and do a lot of traveling. And he looked at me like suspicious. And then I walked over his hand and he goes, nice to meet you. I'm Jimmy. I'm like, hey, I'm Sam. Hey, where are you out of? And then the next thing you know, like, I saw him not that long ago at Bellevue's meeting. So it's a small world, and it gets smaller and smaller the longer you're in this fraternity. It's really cool. It's something to look forward to.
So I know when I joined, when I was still at Northern Light and stuff, I was still in high school. Was I in? No, I was out of high school. That's right. And I would always just go over to my best friend's house. We'd play video games, watch movies, whatever, just like relax and stuff. And I knew her for 5 years or so at the time. And I joined and I wore my ring and over, and I was talking to her dad, and her dad noticed the ring, and he goes, why are you wearing that? And I go, because I'm a Freemason. And he goes, you are? I go, yeah. And he goes, let's go in the kitchen real fast. What is going on? And I go in there, and he gives me the grip word and the test and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm in shock. I'm like, what the hell? And he goes, yeah, I'm a Freemason. I'm a Master Mason. Haven't went to any meetings in a while, and we started talking. And I'm like, I've known you for 5 years. I didn't know you were a Mason. And it's surprising, like, once you join the fraternity, you start seeing the symbols, you start seeing the people, you start picking up on the words, and you're like, this is not a secret organization. Because if it was a secret, you would not see these ever or hear them and stuff. And it's just like, we're holy cow, everywhere. And that's one of the questions we ask is what keeps you going? What keeps you coming back to the fraternity? And no, we don't script these. We don't talk to guests beforehand and go, say this, or what are you going to say and stuff. It's just right. We give them pretty much as we hit the record button, we say, hey, these are the 10 questions that we're going to ask. And for the most part, they're the same. But of all of our guests, and by all means, go back and listen. But I think everyone but one has said the brotherhood.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're
And
here for the brotherhood.
the one person is the one that brought you into
Master
Masonry,
Taylor.
but he likes the lectures. He likes the rotations. I mean, that's
The
kind of-
memorizing. and
yeah,
doing
and
He's a ritualist.
the
Okay.
brotherhood, but
yeah. But even after the recording, he goes, brotherhood is definitely number 2. It is a close, but I prefer
he's a
this.
ritualist for sure, and he's a
Yeah,
perfectionist.
And
Always has been.
Like as we're recording these, I'm just picking up on them, and I forget what meeting afterwards. I go, no, you're the 8th brother who said you come back for the brotherhood. Really? And we listen back, and we're all just like, holy cow! Not even realizing it. We're just all on the same wavelength, and it really goes to show you we are a brotherhood.
Yeah.
We would do anything for each other, and we're here to become best friends pretty much. So
Well, it's just like this, we've got, you guys are all the way out in Nebraska and we're here in Ohio. What brought us together? Masonry.
Yep.
I mean, you can't beat it. You can't, we've all got different walks of life. We all do different things,
and we just interviewed someone, as Gabe likes to say, from Missouri or Minnesota or wherever he chooses.
Picks it to be.
Yeah. That and can't get the right
and it
state.
was so similar, talking with the Time for Fellowship guys. It's all the brotherhood that brings us together. We all, it's different state to state and we do different things, but at the end of the day, we're all brothers.
Right.
And it's really is that close bond.
Yep.
So
Yep.
definitely something you get to look forward to, Gabe. You'll see it, it'll expand on you and your mind will kind of be blown eventually. You're just like, what did I get myself into here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird at first, in a sense. Not weird. It was eerie in a sense how everyone just clicked with everybody so quickly. Like they were.
Yep.
I mean, bear with me. They were on a level. The level, right?
Mhm. Right.
Right. But like my first time when I went to go to the investigation, you showed up shortly after. I went to Tangier Shrine. My investigators weren't there yet, but I walked up to a group of people. I'm like, hey, excuse me, I'm here for the investigation. They're like, well, we're not really a part of Beehive Lodge, but here, come on, what's your name? Can I buy you a beer? Do you like beer? And I was like, yeah, I love my favorite kind of beer is cold one. What's up? And some dude from there's like 18 people there, and they're all listening to the conversation between me and this other gentleman. The dude all the way in the back of the bar. Hey, put him on my tab. I was like, I don't even know any of these people. I just
I know you.
2 or 3 other brothers, and we just started shooting the shit for like a couple minutes.
Yep.
Investigators came up. I talked to them, and it went great. But the whole interaction was it was insane how everyone just treated you like they already knew you for years, and it was awesome because I'm very outgoing, and that's why I like this kind of stuff, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, and it was so weird or strange just to find people that were just like that were just so outgoing, be like, here, come on, sit down, let's talk. Like, that's awesome.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And you definitely got lucky with being outgoing. I'm very introverted. So like that very first step when they take you to the preparation room and they're like, don't worry, you'll be fine. Just sit in here. We'll come get you. It's going to be a few minutes. And they have that brother sit with you just to kind of talk to you, just get your nerves out. Nothing crazy for the people that aren't Masons. It's just kind of, hey, let's give a friendly face because you're about to join a group. Kind of like joining a workforce or something when you have HR come in and talk to you and, hey, this is what's going to go
They
on.
brief you on how the night's going to go.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. And I'm like, never met the dude that just brought me into this room. Never met this guy that's sitting in this room for me with what felt like 30 years, but it was only like 3 minutes.
Yes.
And then, the first step afterwards, like everyone's like, hey, good job. And you're like, I didn't do anything. And then they're just super nice. And you're like, okay, when's the turn coming? Like, when is the, I got you. But it just,
you did all
like,
this for nothing. You look funny.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah, but it just never comes. And then as you take the further steps and the more steps and stuff, you're just like, oh, this is us. This isn't
is
just
cool.
them. This is just, I love these guys. Like
Yep.
like you said, like, hey, let's go to the bar next door or something and just chill out for 3 hours and have beer and just shoot the shit.
This is what we do.
Yeah,
This is
that's
what we
that
do.
guy. It's not to say
Come over
that
to my
that's all
basement.
that like Freemasonry is or like all that we do. Don't get me wrong, but definitely if you ever need a brother in a time of need or you just want to hang out, like they're there, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave's gotten many calls, even though he gets up at like 2 a.m. He's gotten calls from me at like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm like, dude, I just need somebody to have a beer with.
Yep.
I got the PTSD is
I need to vent.
and I just got to get some. And we don't even have to say anything. Dave just comes over and we sit by the fire and we have a couple beers and everything's good.
Everybody's happy.
Yep.
I just need to decompress.
Yeah. So Zoom just popped up and says we're very shortly going to kick everybody out of here again. So
We're gonna try round 3.
you want to do a round 3?
Yes, we'll take a break and then.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break. We'll do a reset and we'll be right back.
Sounds great. See you in a minute.
Great.
Being recorded.
There it is. Thank
All right.
the Lord.
And we're back.
And we're back. Kind of. We never left, but we're back.
Correct.
That is true.
I'm curious, how do you guys choose your guests? Like what kind of qualities do you look for certain qualities in a guest?
That's a good question.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because we just had I don't know what you want, board meeting. I'll use that word, even
Yeah,
though there's
loosely.
the only 3 of us, and we're all just sitting in the east shooting the shit. But as far as I know, for like choosing guests or topics, we just okay, we have these ones already recorded. What do we want to build on? What kind of topics? And we just kind of go around the room, and then we just think of whatever we want. Like, okay, we did World War II. Do we want to talk about World War One or the Revolutionary War or Civil War, or do we want to do something like what's
Video
the
games.
yeah, the games or the cartoons, and that's where we kind of get those topics. And then for brothers, we just kind of
We ask.
like it's just kind of like the person that, if elected, will be our worshipful master next year. We were just like, hey, would you mind? We'd love to hear your story. And then that kind of just branches off to, oh, hey, I know him. Do you mind if I be on the podcast? And we're like, yeah, sure. The more, the merrier at this point.
We decided I am not very good when it comes to, I guess decorum would be the right word to use. I'm not always good with titles, and I get phone calls from Grand Lodge officers. I don't call them by their title. They're just, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Like, you're calling me at work. I'm not calling you all these titles in front of my boss. Like, they already think I'm weird. We don't need to make this any worse. But I really, like, at the end of it, I truly 100% believe in the phrase that we are all on the level. We're all equal. And to me, that means that there's not one Mason story that's more important than the others. So even when we're really blessed at our lodge that we have a lot of guys who have taken that extra step and taken on more responsibilities. And if so elected, our treasurer will probably one day be the Grand Master for the state of Ohio in 6 or 7 years. So, but that doesn't change the fact that he's still just my brother. We do all this work together. He's not this big out of sight guy for me. So when these guys come on the show, I treat them as if I would treat anybody else, and probably razz them a little bit more because we're, good friends. But I really truly believe that every Mason story needs to be told.
Yep.
We're not all, the businessman, the banker, we all do different things, and not all of us are cut from the same cloth, but we all kind of come together and make up that, altar cloth for Masonry.
Yep.
It's got different shades and colors, and some of them are dirty and some of them are pristinely clean from, our, the work that we do. But at the end of the day, it all comes together to make our fraternity. So, the guy that's, never taken on an office, never taken on any of that, his story is just as important as the guy that holds every title under the sun to me.
Yeah.
And actually, it's funny because those guys that sit on the sidelines and don't take officers' positions, don't want to be in leadership at all, those are the guys that you kind of go, what brings you here? Why you keep coming back? So, like our good friend Jack, don't ask him to memorize anything. Don't ask him to be an officer. Don't ask him to do any of that because he's not interested. But if you need a wall ripped out and put back together, or, the roof reshingled, he's the guy we call.
Yeah.
And when we asked him, he was like, I'm here for the brotherhood. Like, you guys are my family. So that's what I like to look for. Somebody that wants to sit down and tell their story. And actually, my goal going forward is to try and get some of our older members and some of the older guys in our state and our district, because eventually those stories that we like to tell, they're going to disappear unless we get them down. And I can tell a story that I've heard from this guy, but I'm not going to tell it right. I'm not going to be accurate. I wasn't there. There's no emotion to it. But if we can sit down with Jimmy, who has been in line for, been in the lodge for 70 years, and he's got all these great stories to tell about, all the brothers that came before him, and hopefully has some funny stories about us. I mean, I feel like that's the kind of guest that I would like to see, somebody that kind of shows what being in Masonry truly is about, try to get that little slice of why they're in this, why they continue to do this. And that comes from so many different people.
Yeah.
Everybody's story's different, but like I said, it's always funny when we ask that question about, why do you come here? It's usually for the brotherhood, and it just goes to show you that we're all different, but we're all the same in some ways.
Like when we were first starting off, we definitely started with our closest friends and family, kind of, okay, these are going to be the easiest people to interview. Let's get our feet wet. But then we started branching out, and I know we had a few like big title drops, and not saying, oh, like Sam said, oh, you have to be this level of a master mason to be on here. It was just, we picked anyone and everyone, and it's not even we go up to them and we're like, only you. We're just like, hey, we would like to, if you have some free time. And most of the time there is some free time that our schedules line up and we're able to get a few episodes out and stuff. Like one of the brothers that we really want to interview, he has a summer job in Put-in-Bay, and he's like, if you guys want to come to the island, we can do it, but I can't come back. Like, so it's okay, you know what, we'll wait for the summer to end when we kind of come back from being dim, and we can just go from there. And then my future father-in-law, I think he's a third or fourth generation Mason, and he is deathly afraid of being interviewed, and we've tried to talk to him multiple times, and he's like, nope. So what do you want on your like steak? Or like he will just change the subject completely. And it's like, no, I want to hear your story. And he goes, yeah, there's not a lot to tell. So anyways, I got beer over here, or we got water, and it's like, damn it, you're not my dad, but dad. So, and that's where it just like, it just right now, it's just whose schedule lines up. And we don't pick anyone just because, oh, like Sam said, just because title, or, oh, you have to have a story. We have a few brothers going through their first few steps, and once they become a master mason, they don't know it yet, but we're going to sit down with them and interview them. Kind of like what you guys are doing with Gabe, is just, hey, we've all been there, but it was long ago. We want to hear right after the event. what's your guys' thoughts? And
And I
from there.
think we've gotten a little bit lucky. Like I said earlier, we had the guys here at the lodge. It was pretty easy to do. And then recently we've gotten people that have reached out to us. So for the first time, it's kind of the other way around. These guys are saying, "Hey, we'd love to be on your show." So at the end of this month, starting of next month, we're actually going to have an episode with the two valleys of the Scottish Rite that are in Ohio, both of them sitting down at the table with representatives at the same time talking about Scottish Rite. So it's, that I've never had anybody ask me, and the valleys are actually the ones that are pushing them to do it. The guys want to do it, but the valleys are like, yeah, no, we want in. Like this is the way to do it. So that's kind of a change of pace. And then also with our, the podcasting community, there's a whole bunch of them. But like I was telling the Time for Fellowship guys, there's a few of us that we've been poking each other and liking each other's stuff for months now, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do something together. This is gonna happen. It's just when.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that kind of starstruck us a little bit, just because we were just interviewing like a few nitpick people here, and then all of a sudden Mason Gear Shop reached out to Sam and was like, "Hey, I love your guys' episodes, would love to send you guys some stuff." And we're like, we just started. We have like 10 listeners, if that. Are you sure? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll send you. What sizes are you guys? And we're like, what the heck is going on? And then like Time for Fellowship, they reached out to us and they're like, hey, we'd love to. And then Traveling Man.
Yeah, we have to sit down with Jim Hall from Traveling Man, and you guys you guys said that you're like, hey, we should do something. I'm like, yeah, we can. Let's do that.
Yeah,
I love it.
It kind of goes back to the model of to be one, ask one. To be on the show, ask. Like, we're not gonna be like, no, thanks.
Not you.
Like, I mean, depending on, now that I say that, we're gonna get every single person. Like, we're gonna get the person that's on the corner. Hey, can I be on your podcast? And it's gonna be no. So.
Yeah, I think there's so much room in the Masonic podcast world. And everybody's Micah, who was a recent guest of ours, was going to do a Scottish Rite podcast, and he says he doesn't want to do it because we beat him to the punch. And I was like, dude, there is so much room. Like, everybody has their own take on the fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a lot of them that are really stuffy and kind of hard to listen to. We're just some goofballs that get on a camera and have some drinks and shoot the shit for a while
and get somebody's story.
Yeah, that's the thing is everybody says, "Oh, my story's not very unique," but when it takes 45 minutes to tell their story, it's pretty damn unique.
It's unique.
Yep.
Yeah, and we really didn't want, there's plenty of podcasts out there that dip into the esoterics and the theory, and that's not any of our strong suit. We're the guys that are in the kitchen cooking you up your spaghetti dinner and your pancakes for the pancake breakfast. We're not the guys that are, sitting in the chairs talking about theology. I mean, occasionally it comes up when you have a couple of drinks around a fire. It's inevitable, but not enough to get on a microphone and spout my opinion about it. But I can tell you that I've been in this organization long enough. I can tell you the good that it does. I can tell you the stories about brothers, and I can pull that story out of other people. And my hope is, and I'm sure you guys get it too all the time, you get messages from people on Facebook, from other countries, like, oh, how do I join? How do I do this? How do I do that? And you're like, I can't really help you, but here's the Grand Lodge of your country.
Yep.
And I had a guy that was from New York that reached out to me and wanted to join. He didn't know anything about it, and I kind of sent him down the same path, but I was able to kind of talk him through it because he's in the States. So he has entered apprentice in a month or two.
Outstanding.
All right.
So one guy joined because he heard our podcast on Spotify randomly. He just looked it up, and he's like, well, I saw this and it had all these symbols. He was like, but your guys' was a cartoon, so I thought that was approachable.
By the way, that was a great episode.
Thanks.
Thank you.
He got
We
a good laugh out of it, but
Yeah, we've
You know,
gotten a lot of compliments from that episode.
I did like that one. That
Yeah.
one was a lot of
And
fun.
that was his topic that he spitballed at us. He's like, "What about this?" And we were all just like, "Eh, let's go down this path with Sam."
Yeah, but
It worked.
I mean, I can't be too mad. The research for it was literally sitting down and watching cartoons for the weekend. Oh no.
So, but
So in
Yeah.
the same vein of like comedy and whatnot, sorry to switch gears here in a sense, but
No, you're good.
what is your favorite, if not the most heard conspiracy of masonry that you guys heard? You know, we always
Oh,
have
geez.
the underground organization or the secret organization that's running the government or whatnot. They're lizard people, blah blah blah.
Well, I've got a good one for this one. So for those of you that don't know, I work in healthcare. I work third shift. I'm an X-ray tech, and I'm the only one in the building, so I'm relatively busy. Um, but I went to go get a patient out of the emergency room, and older lady and her husband. I take care of her. I bring her back, and she notices my ring. And I then had to stand there because the hospital I work for is really big on like customer service. I hate to say that word because it's not how healthcare should be, but it's customer service.
Bedside manner.
And
Yeah.
that's more like it. But part of me just wants to be like, I gotta go. Like, but I'm standing there. I just stand there for 35 minutes and listen to this lady explain to me how Oak Island works and how the Masons hid the treasure and that I'm not high enough in my organization to know where the treasure is. And then if I ever find out, I should let her know and we can split it. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like,
All right.
lady, I'm an hourly employee. I'm like, my mentor has touched just about every organization in Ohio Masonry that there is, and even some in other states that don't exist here. And he doesn't have a big treasure chest in his basement either. Like, so that one's always good. And then my other favorite one is that we are all devil worshippers.
yeah,
That one is always kind of, I'm like, we literally put a Bible on our altar.
yep.
That doesn't seem right, but whatever.
Bible there to burn it.
Yeah.
So for me, so I have two at work that I love messing with them. Like they know it's joking, so it's fun. For friends, I mean, pretty much my friends are the guy group, which is the Masons in Genoa. So it's like we can't have those theories because we're all in the same cult. But at work, one of my good friends, he actually got me the job there. He always makes the joke of, "So is the goat going to show up tonight? Like, do you have to bring carrot or something?" And I'm always like, "Yeah, the last time I forgot a carrot, someone lost a finger." And we just roll with it. And then my other friend, who's actually a groomsman in my wedding, he's the shipping and receiving manager at my work, and it'll just be something random. And he's like, "Brian, do you know anyone in such and such business? Or I need something like this." I'm like, and I just hand him a business card. And after like the sixth time, he goes, "Do you rule the world?" And I go, "I'm not going to confirm or deny that, but,"
Secretly, yes.
and I just walked away. And he goes, "That's not an answer." And I go, from my office on the other side, I go, "It kind of is."
I believe
Two of my favorite things, like just shooting the shit with both of them, just because I get a giggle out of it. And it's just like, yes.
that's awesome.
Actually, it was really funny. Our entered apprentice, after his or his fellow craft now, he got his degree. We were sitting down after the meeting and his wife messaged him and was like, "Why are you so late?" And he messaged her back and said, and I quote, "Oh, sorry, things are a little chaotic. The goat got loose." I was like, "You're gonna fit in just fine here."
Yeah, we were in the dining room drinking. I forget what we were drinking, but just shooting the shit, and it was like midnight. And yeah, she texts him like, "Where are you?"
The goat got loose.
Yeah,
You're gonna be just fine.
I forgot about
favorite is
that.
when you
That
run
was a good
into
one.
the random person at work and they, I have a big square and compass on my arm and they see that and then they want to start talking about it. And they're like, "Oh, I probably know more about Freemasonry than you do." All right,
Sure.
let's sit down and have a
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah, you're right. You
I
probably
was-
Inform me on my organization,
Let me
please.
tell you something about you that you don't know.
Right.
Okay.
So do you guys have any upcoming topics or guests that you're like super stoked about?
Actually, we do. It's going to be a pretty crazy couple of months. So this coming Monday, which will be the same day as this one, um, we have an episode coming out about Ronin Masons. It's a term that I have made up personally. So a Ronin
That's the one I'm
in
looking for.
samurai history is a samurai without a master or a samurai without a lord. I met a man in my life who helped me during a really, really rough time. I mean, it was just really bad. And he pulled me through it. And when I met him, we were, I thought he was a Mason. He belonged to my lodge and he knew everything. And come to find out, he was not affiliated. He missed his mark on we have a time limit here in Ohio on how long before you can give back your and you can get an extension, but if you don't get it, you're pretty much done. I mean, so he's a Mason. He knows everything we know, but he's not affiliated, and he would have been an amazing Mason here in Ohio. I mean, an amazing guy. And for a guy that what he did for me was truly Masonry. For me. It was like a trial by fire. He did everything he was supposed to do. So we kind of talk about, these Masons that get in and we kind of lose them on the sidelines. These guys that maybe they get their EA, maybe they get their fellow craft, they never complete through, like how we should fix that. So that I'm really looking forward to. It's kind of a little bit of a catharsis on my end, telling a story that I've never really told before. Even Ryan didn't know it.
Yep.
And then following that, we have our friend Mark Allred, who is a specialist in pop culture, Masonry. So he talks about a whole bunch of movies and books and all that kind of stuff. And that one's pretty exciting. Kind of goes
Yeah.
along with the cartoon episode.
That one I really like just because like I've only known Mark for a few years now since I've transferred from Northern Light to Genoa Lodge. But I mean, me and him used to joke, but I always like thought, pardon my words, but it's the only words I can think of, a stick up his ass. Like it's like, okay, this guy's
Very
not
serious.
Yeah, like, and then after interviewing him and like talking to him, like, oh no, I'm the one that has the stick up his ass. I'm like, this guy's cool. Like, and like we got in a little bit of, I don't want to say trouble, but we were kind of told, hey, you guys may want to lean away from doing it this way from our Grand Lodge. And Sam called me up and let me know, and then talked to Mark, and Mark just like, I'll handle this. And we're like,
He's like, you're good. Just
We're-
don't do that again.
yeah,
And
we're like, we're not in trouble. And he's like, don't worry, I got you. And we're like, oh no. So, but yeah, Mark's cool.
But and then after that, we have our Scottish Rite episode. I'm really looking forward to that because it'll probably be the first time of having both valleys in the state of Ohio, at least in our area. There's not, usually you have one valley per region. These valleys almost touch each other. So they share membership in some ways. And it's interesting to see they both go about things in a different way, but they're both successful. So it'll be interesting to sit down and see not only why, how they do things and why they do things that are so successful, but why should a Mason join Scottish Rite? And I was a Scottish Rite Mason. I had to demit mostly because of time, but it's a very cool organization, and it's asking that question. I think the listeners are really going to enjoy hearing what brings these guys out to Scottish Rite, how it's different. It's same but different. So, And then we have our Grand Lodge, our annual communication is in October, and we will be there recording. We have a booth set up. We've got a sign that Ryan just made.
2 of us will be there.
Yeah.
One
and-
person.
And my hope is
Will
to
not.
sit down, and anybody that wants to sit down and tell your story. We got 5 or 10 minutes per person. And then, hopefully we can get some of these guys back and get these guys excited about, coming and listening to us and maybe spreading their story too.
Which, real fast, free shout out to the website that I used to get the banner, banners.com. If you guys have ever need a banner, holy cow, best website ever.
Phenomenal.
It's especially if you can wait a little bit. I've never seen a place where it's like, hey, this is low priority. They're like, okay, that'll be 25% off. And it's like, wait, I'm getting money back. And they're like, yeah, if it's low priority, that's fine. And they were quoting me at like 10 to 15 business days. I got it in 4. And I was like, holy, yep, I'm going here now.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't pay me to say any of this, but banners.com.
It's really
Use it.
nice. No, it's not blurry or anything. I'm
Nope.
shocked, because my editing ability on the computer is not great. But yeah, if you guys ever need a banner, check them out.
Yeah.
But that's what we're really looking forward to is we got a lot of things coming down the pipe really soon, and things are moving very, very quickly. And then on top of it, he's getting married.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, all right, we got these guys this day, and then the next week we got this, and then the next week we got this, and then we're not doing anything for a month because we're going to be busy for your wedding. But we'll have everything good to go. But it's going to be an exciting few months for us.
Yeah, my wife takes charge of the calendar, both for the family and the podcast, just to make sure they don't overlap.
Yeah, you almost have to.
Yeah.
Our group chat looks like a mess sometimes because I think I messaged you guys and you're like, hey, we can do it this Friday. And I'm like, give me a minute. Friday. Gabe's like, oh, I'm going to be deployed. I'm like, that's fine. Ryan can be there. Ryan's my wingman. He's funnier than me anyway.
Well, listen, we're going to run out of time here in a few minutes, but
Damn it, Zoom.
If you watch our show, watch their show, the Third Degree Masonic Podcast.
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic show. It's actually, it's my favorite one to listen to. I mean, you guys are awesome. We're going to have to do this again for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, we would love to have you guys on our show.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And we'll get you guys interviewed properly. I know we couldn't really ask you guys too many questions just with the transition and the time limit. So
yeah,
we'll get you guys on and get you guys thoroughly interviewed. And I think our listeners will love you guys.
Yep,
we really
yep.
appreciate having us on. And it's an honor to hear that you guys listen to us because you kind of sit there and you wonder like, oh, is anybody even listening to us?
Yeah.
And then to hear that people are, and you're like,
anything out of this,
right. Am I just talking into a microphone like a psycho? So thank you very much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank
It
you.
was great having you guys. It was, like I said, get to see you guys and been hearing you. It's been fun. So
I know I came in halfway,
Sorry.
but nonetheless, hearing your stories or from what I heard over at the Peanut Gallery, it's really awesome. Kind of refreshing to hear people with like-minded stories or even kind of unique ones as well that were still similar to my experience. So thank you guys.
Oh yeah. Well, and we're all in this together,
Yep.
We're just trying to spread Freemasonry in all corners of the world
Absolutely.
and beat out all the crazies on TikTok telling us that we're, in a cult.
Gabe, for your next degree when you get to Fellowcraft, bring up pepper. The goat really loves the peppers.
Gotcha. I was really worried I was bring the wrong stuff.
we did make the Velcro gloves bigger. So
just smack the Velcro gloves on them and hang on.
Hang on, how big is the goat? Wait a minute.
You're asking the
Progression.
wrong question.
Progression.
Oh my god.
By the time you're master, you'll figure out the right questions to ask.
Oh, my bad.
So,
All right, brothers. Well, we will. Everybody that's watching this show, when you're finished watching this one, watch theirs. Subscribe to both. Look them up. Follow them on Facebook. They're really great stuff. Good content. and we'll look forward to the next time when we get to be on your show.
Sounds great, brothers. We'll talk to you
Sounds good.
real soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, brothers.
Take
Travel
care,
well.
guys. You too.